I'm absolutely delighted to be presenting this webinar on grading essays using rubrics. Hope you can all hear me. Can you say yes if you can hear me all? Am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Mohammed, you are audible, clear, loud and clear.
Thank you so very much. So let me walk you through different stages of my presentation today. First of all, we'll have a look at, prompts for task, prompts that we have for our essays that we give to our students. And then we'll take a look at writing assessment criteria. Afterwards, we'll look at different descriptors, related to bands. We'll also take a look at benefits of rubric. And then we will move to factors that negatively impact scores, factors that bring scores, down. And then we'll also learn what should be the approach of teachers while grading papers. What are the things that are to be kept in mind? And then we'll match performance statements with bands based on the rating scale. And then we'll look at papers and we'll try to give some scores, and we will justify why we have given particular score. And then we'll also take a look at, script with major problems. And then I'll take your questions if you have any queries. And then references at the end. So first of all, here are the prompts for the essay. As you can see here, clearly it says your essay should follow a logical division of ideas, organization, and have at least 350 words and at least 20 sentences. So students are supposed to write 350 words, not less. If it's plus, that's better. If you calculate them, it comes about 20 sentences, more or less. So sometimes students write very well. They do quite well in other areas like coherence and lexical range and, accuracy of grammar and grammatical, range of grammar, etc. But if essay does not follow number of words, then it's going to be marked down. So under length essays are marked down. Another important point is effective funnel or attention-getting introductory paragraph. That means a student have to start saying something in general, and then he has to move to a particular thing related to the topic. So moving from general to a particular, which is in a shape of funnel, that's why we call it a funnel background. So why am I talking about the prompts here? Prompts are not only important for students. Of course, students are guided by, prompts. They exactly know what they're supposed to be writing. It's also important for us to take a look at the prompts while grading papers, because then we exactly know what we are actually looking for in the performance of the students. An effective thesis statement that shows your essay will be organized as logical division of ideas. Yeah. So introduction should have you know, funnel introduction, and then it should end with the thesis statement. Now we move to body paragraph. Three well-supported body paragraphs that clearly relate to the thesis statement. Yeah. So they have to produce three well-developed body paragraphs that are related to what they have said in the thesis statement. So this linking is important. If students write something in body paragraphs that are not related to the thesis statement, which they have said in the introductory paragraph, they are not going to get good grades for body paragraphs because it would be rather off topic, or it would be confusing what the student is talking about. And then concluding paragraph, which starts with a transition signal, effectively paraphrases the thesis statement and summarizes the main idea. That means they have to write a concluding paragraph which begins with the transition signal of conclusion, and then they have to summarize what they've said in body paragraphs. Or they can paraphrase the thesis statement. So sometimes it's both, sometimes, just one. And then they can end their essay with a final statement. It continues further. The further things, the other things that students need to keep in mind, and we also need to look at, right, while grading the papers, like whether they have used commas and full stops correctly, whether they have used, number of transition signals. Sometimes, it's specified, as here. It's specified they must write at least 8 transition signals, and examples are given here. First of all, second, third, as you can see here. Uh, Not only, but also transition signals of order, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the prompts before we start grading, we exactly know what we are actually looking for while grading, and it will help us understand the performance of the students. I've got another task here with prompts. So just let's go through it quickly. It's from the previous uh, exams that were held in the ELI. So look at the prompts here. Write a 5-paragraph essay comparing and contrasting the measles and the mumps. And it clearly say your essay should have 400 words or 30 sentences. Again, effective funnel, thesis statement. I'm not going to talk about in detail, as I've already done with the previous task. And then 3 well-supported paragraphs. And then here it talks about organization, whether you follow point-by-point organization or block organization. So sometimes we need to take into consideration this particular organization while grading essays. Sometimes, they are given option. They can use either point-by-point or block organization. Sometimes they're asked to write a particular organization, so they must stick to it. They must follow the prompts, and they should write their essays accordingly. And we need to uh, keep in mind while grading essay papers as well. And then again, concluding paragraph with transition signals, summary, and so on. There are the important things that are to be kept in mind, like 4 different transition signals for comparison, 4 different transition signals for contrast, and at least two different transition signals for concession. So sometimes they're just asked to use transition signal. Sometimes they are asked to write particular uh, transition signals depending upon the essays that they are writing. So we need to also keep in mind while grading papers. Now, here is a task for you. There are two columns, column A and column B. In column A, you have four criteria that are usually and that are used, in fact, for IELTS writing task 2. And on the right, that is column B, we have some of the elements that we have on our rating scale. Can you match them? Can you match them? Words in column A with words in column B? You can use more than one option from column B while matching with A. If you have any comments, you can write in the chat box, or you can talk to me using your mic. Yeah, I'm waiting for more responses. I'm just looking at the chat box. When Okay. Yeah, we have got lots of responses. Thank you so much for your responses. Yeah, task achievement. It's basically it relates to rubric. It relates to prompts, whether you are able to accomplish the task or not. Okay, when you compare it with IELTS. So task achievement is about addressing bullet points. So here, yeah, you can put introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion. But introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion, they can also be categorized as coherence. Yeah, because it's related to the format. Okay, so format comes under the category of coherence, and cohesion, it's about transition signals or cohesive devices that you use. A lexical range, yeah, it's all about collocations, words, and development of ideas. Accuracy of grammar or variety of sentences, yeah, that come under the category of grammar. Also, you know, uh, word forms and other things, they are all clubbed with grammar. Mechanics are related to, you may not have all the It's difficult to categorize everything here, but mechanics are about, spelling, punctuation, capitalization, etc. Yeah. So we do not have lexical range at the ELI, but it's subsumed under body paragraphs. So if you do not write well developed body paragraph, that means you have problem at the level of ideas, using correct words, which hinders, development of ideas. So we look for it. We look for lexical range in body paragraphs and introduction and conclusion. We also look for collocation there. And then we have grammar and mechanics separately here. Let's go to another slide. Now, here is the rating scale that we use. It's usually the same, but sometimes, uh, it's tweaked depending upon the kind of essays, that kind of assignment that we have, or essays that we have. So this rating scale was for ELI H102 writing quiz 4, last year. Now let's have look at the introduction here. In introduction, if the essay is well developed and has effective funnel, and it talks about causes and effects of the topic given in the prompt, the student can get full mark. That is 3 in introduction. So we need to pay attention to the highlighted words, well developed and effective funnel. If you are grading essay and you find well developed or effective funnel introduction, which clearly mentions causes and effects, you have to give full marks. But it's fairly well developed, not like the first one. So students will get 2, and so on and so forth. So these are performance statements. So the performance of students are judged against the performance statement given in the rating scale. So it's very important to keep the writing scale in front of you while grading the paper. So you look at the performance of a student and you match against the performance statement or maybe descriptor of a particular band, and then you allocate a particular score. If the essay contains an adequate funnel attention getting introduction, the thesis statement makes it clear that is cause and effect essay, then students get 1. So sometimes, students come and argue with us. Okay, you say funnelist introduction I have, okay, thesis statement I have, then why did you give me 1? But okay, a particular student has both, but it's not as developed as the first one. It's not well developed, it's not effective. So I think we need to make our students understand this, and then it will save our time and energy. Otherwise the students are left dissatisfied. Have a look at the body paragraphs now. These are performance statement. The paragraph is well developed and well organized with 7 or more supporting sentences. So when students are able to write more than 7 sentences and they are well organized, well developed, then they're supposed to get a 5 here. The topic sentence clearly connects back to the thesis statement. Yeah, so, and they write in the body paragraphs what they have said in the thesis statement. So, well developed, well organized body paragraph, and they are linked with the thesis statement. So they get a full mark. But it's well developed, but reasonably well developed. Not, it's reasonably well developed and fairly well organized. So they will be getting a 4. If it is somewhat developed and somewhat organized. In fact, we don't have to read in detail. If we just look at uh, the highlighted words, it will help us, grade quickly, and it will help us uh, give a grade that students actually deserve. A body paragraph, again, it continues. If the paragraph shows an attempt at development and organization with at least 3 supporting sentences, again, so the students have produced just 3 supporting sentences. Okay, that means it's not well developed, or maybe it's partly developed. So students end up getting a 2. And if it's poorly developed, the students get a 1. Now, in conclusion, as uh, we have talked about it before, it must start with the transition signal, and it should summarize effectively. So word effectively is important here. Most of the students summarize, but what makes difference is how effectively it is done. If it is effectively done, students get a 3. If it is adequately done, students get a 2. If students just makes a kind of attempt to do it, yeah, he gets 1. Otherwise, he gets a 0. These are key points related to grammar, subject verb agreement, basic word order, correct tenses and correct nouns and adjectives. So students do well in this area, like accurately or with minimal errors, mostly correctly, some errors, incorrectly more often than not. Yeah, so they get different score. Like accurately with minimum errors, 3, mostly correct, 2, some errors, 1, and so on. I mean, I'm not here to enlighten you on the rating scale, but we must revisit rating scale while grading. Especially, we need to look at the highlighted words. That really help us allocate a score which is really fair. If you have any questions, you can ask, or I'll move to the next. I'll go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah. Now, what are the benefits of rubrics? And it's beneficial for both students and teachers alike. Let's try to know how it helps the students. Now, when students are familiar with the rubrics, they know exactly what they are supposed to be doing. They know what they're expected of. They know what their teachers are expecting from them. And learning is about gaining specific knowledge, skills, and attitudes. They are, so when they enroll for a particular course, they know exactly the kind of knowledge that they have to acquire, the kind of skills that they have to develop, and the kind of attitudes that they have to show. It also helps students to self assess, to reflect on their learning. So, if your students are attempting an essay at home and he wants to know how well he has done, so what can he do? He can go back to the rubric and can see whether points that are there are included in his essay or not. So it's about learning. And then if students papers are graded based on the same rubric, the teacher and the students will be on the same page. So it won't leave students dissatisfied because they exactly know why they have been marked down. They exactly know what they have got a particular score, because both the parties are guided by the same rubric. Now, what are the benefits that it has for instructors, teachers? Teachers and students are clear on what is being assessed. Yeah, so both parties know, which I've already talked about. So both the parties know exactly how to assess and how assessment is done. Teachers don't have to write comments. Instead of writing comments, you can direct the students to the rating scale or rubrics, for example. And if we are inundated with lots of papers, yeah, if we are snowed over with a lot of papers, uh, rating scale or rubric save a lot of time, because we have uh, something to go back to again and again and grade papers. We have something there for easy reference. Now let's have a look at some of the factors that prevent students getting good grades, although they have they may have done well in certain areas. And it happens in many cases. Our students sometimes do exceptionally well in some areas, but they do poorly in other areas. As a result, they don't get a score that they're actually looking for. For example, if students have written essays with variety of sentences, wonderful collocation, not many grammar mistakes, yeah, even his format, even the format is good, but they are not able to stick to number of words. So the scores will be marked down. They won't get a score that they're actually looking for. So if an essay is written, you know, uh, below the word limit, the students can't get a full mark. If the students have not addressed, some of the bullet points, maybe uh, he has addressed, most of the bullet points, but not some. Again, is going to lose some marks here. If your students have written very well in terms of ideas and content and so on, grammar, but if the format is problem, the format is important. Otherwise, things will get messed up, things will get mixed up. So proper format is very important. If an essay is written with improper format, it results in losing grades. Or sometimes improper tone. Yeah, They do not stick to formal language, or they use, uh, maybe spoken English while writing essays. Sometimes, they write a lot, but they do not make sense. They're irrelevant. They're not, pertinent to the topic. Yeah, correct, Riyadh. Thank you. So they have to write using, uh, yeah, registers, academic collocations, and so on. And they have to be relevant in terms of ideas. Sometimes students produce memorized, phrases or paragraphs, memorized paragraphs. Yeah, I mean, in terms of content, if they use, some phrases or idiomatic expressions and others, that's fine. But if they memorize, some paragraphs and they just regurgitate them or just reproduce them in the exam hall, they're going to be marked down because it sounds so mechanical. Because you see the difference of what they have written in the previous paragraphs and what they're producing in some other paragraphs. Yeah. So the students lose grades there as well. Sometimes, essays are off topic or tangential. Yeah. They're not on topic entirely. They lose marks. Sometimes, yeah, partially address prompt. They address most of the bullet points, but they leave out some bullet points. So uh, it prevents them getting a good score. Paragraphing. Sometimes, paragraphs are all mixed up. Like they have to produce three body paragraphs and they write them all in one paragraph. Yeah, it's a serious problem. Yeah, it confuses the readers, and hence it results in poor marks. Uh, it may be true that they might have done well in other areas, but because it's a serious mistake, then he loses significant marks here. And sometimes, orthographic issues that we are faced with, like handwriting is so bad that it's difficult to read. Sometimes, it's incomprehensible. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, so they lose grades. So while grading our papers, we need to keep in mind, of course, the performance statements given in the rubric or rating scale, but we also need to look at any major areas, major problems that might prevent a good score. And these are some of the major areas where students are marked down. Now, what should be the approach of the grader? What you should do while grading? Of course, we know what to do, but it's always good to refresh what we are supposed to be doing while grading. Like, read the task carefully. As the students read the task carefully before writing essays, we are supposed to be paying close attention, paying heed to the task carefully. And only then we will look for uh, those things while grading essays. We need to focus on the bullet points. Yeah. And then while marking, we need to begin with introduction, then body paragraph, then conclusion, and then we can look for, maybe accuracy of grammar or range of grammar, variety of sentences, and so on. And then mechanics, which is about uh, spelling and capitalization and so on. And then after going through the essay, we need to match the performance of your students with the descriptors given in the rating scale. Like if a student has uh, written body paragraphs, which are well developed, well organized, yeah, he, he deserves top marks. We need to pay attention to positive features, against bands, right? If he has done well in most of the areas, then we have to look at the positive features in the performance statements to allocate a particular score. And we also need to look at the negative features, which may prevent students get a higher grade. Yeah. So we had to look at both positive features as well as negative features. And this is what happens. I was talking to uh, one candidate who has taken uh, IELTS tests recently, and uh, that particular candidate has addressed all bullet points. The grammar was okay, variety of sentences and so on, collocation, and the candidate is really good in terms of linguistic abilities. But that particular candidate did not get a good score because he put all the three bullet points in one paragraph. In IELTS exam, you are supposed to write, suppose there are three bullet points for a particular task, one or task, two in the writing. Uh, you need to produce, each paragraph for one bullet point. You can't, if you put them all in one paragraph, you're marked down. You lose a significant uh, grades there. You lose a lot of marks there. Now, I managed to get one essay of our student here at the ELI. I hope you can read it. Are you able to read, or it's difficult? Hope you can read it. So, yeah. So take a look at the introduction first, and what a score would you give against the rating scale we have? Like, does this particular essay have a funnel introduction? Does it have a thesis statement? I give you just a couple of minutes to just go through the introduction first and let me know how much marks would you give. Okay, let me share it in the chat box so that you can. Give me a few seconds. I'll just share with you. Uh, Okay, actually, I just took a photo and put it here, so I'm not able to share it with you in the. Okay, okay. Let me read. Can you see? Okay, let me read. Uh, it's about the stages of lung cancer. One of the most malignant diseases around the world is cancer, which is known as an abnormal growth of cells and tissues. There are several types of cancer, and the most common one is the lung cancer. Lung cancer can grow and develop in the human body through four main stages. So, do you think it has a funnel introduction? Does it have a funnel introduction? Any response? He said one of the most malignant diseases around the world is cancer. Yeah, very good, Musarraf. Yes. So it's a fun because it is starting with something in common about diseases, and then he uh, narrows it down to lung cancer. Yeah. So he has full introduction. Now, does it have? Does this introduction have a thesis statement? Have a look at the last line introduction. Let me read for you because you're not able to see. The last line is lung cancer can grow and develop in the human body through four main stages. Does it have a thesis statement? Does the last line of the introductory paragraph contain a thesis statement? Yes. And what are the keywords? Where are you going to look at? The last, can you see four main stages? Four main stages. Yeah, exactly. So this student deserves top grade. Why? Because he has a funnel introduction and ideas are well developed, and then he ends with a thesis statement. Now, there are two ways to write a thesis statement. Maybe you can say something in general, like four stages, or you can specify what those four stages are. Yeah, I think, Riyadh, you are right. Even I can hear. I don't know. It's not from here, maybe somewhere else. Okay. Now, have a look at body paragraphs. Like in stage one, as you can see, I'm pointing out second stage, stage three, and then stage four. Let me here clarify. The students had to produce 5 paragraphs, and there are 4 stages. Okay, so students have clubbed. This particular student has clubbed 2 stages in the first paragraph, so that's fine, because he can't proceed. He can't write more than 5 sentences. That's a limit. Yeah, Ridwan, you are right. He meets all the criteria of introductory paragraph, so he gets full marks. Exactly. Now, if you look at his body paragraph in his stage 1, see, in stage uh, 1 of the lung cancers, the tumor considered small and measures less than 3 centimeters. Yeah. So he explains stage 1 quite clearly, right? He gives exact idea that of what size it is in the first stage. Yeah, it's usually small. It gets bigger, as a patient advances in lung cancer. Yeah. So if you look at body paragraph again, he has written 3 body paragraphs. He has clubbed 2 stages in 1 body paragraph because that's the requirement. Otherwise, he won't be able to restrict it to 5 paragraphs. Total paragraphs should be 5. Yeah, Ridwan, you are right. But a student has to write 4 body paragraphs. So 1 introduction, 1 conclusion. So he writes 4 different paragraphs. Then it would be 6 paragraphs, which is against the rubric. And that's why this particular student has clubbed 2 stages together. And that's why we can't mark him down. That's the requirement. So he has to write 2 stages with 1 paragraph, whether he does it in the first paragraph or second paragraph or third paragraph. I really apologize, as uh, I'm not able to share it in the chat box. I should have converted it into Word document and shared with you in the chat box so that you had a look at the essay clearly. And so uh, he has written all 4 stages very clearly, and he has defined everything very well. So his body paragraphs are well developed in terms of ideas, and he has paragraphed them quite well. So again, he gets full marks for body paragraphs. There are a few mistakes related to grammar, but they are not many. Let me go to the now. Have a look at the conclusion. I hope you can see this concluding paragraph clearly. Can you? Can you see the concluding paragraph clearly? Because the font size is better. Okay. So take a look at the concluding paragraph and give a particular score, and you need to justify why you have given this particular score. Does it have everything which a good concluding paragraph should have? Oh, thank you, Riyadh, for helping me. Yeah, you can also take a picture and then maybe you can magnify it on your screen and see. Oh, thank you for, yeah, rescuing me. At least there is an alternative method to, yeah, read it clearly. So think about, criteria for conclusion. It should begin with a transition signal of conclusion. It should summarize uh, the body paragraphs, and then it should end with a comment. But that's not very important here. It depends what the uh, rubric or rating scale is asking for. Great. Can you share your score? What do you think? How much would you give? Ridwan says conclusion well done, except for a few mechanical problems. Yeah, right. So from 0, 1, 2, 3, what score would you give? If you let's go back to the rating scale. Yeah, this is the rating scale for uh, writing a concluding paragraph. Yeah, if it starts with the transition signal and effectively summarizes the main causes and effects of the topic given in the prompt, or it, yeah, or it adequately summarizes. Now, so let's go back. Yes. Okay, I would give a 3, as Ridwan says. Thank you, Ridwan. Some other? I'm looking for Abdulaziz says 2. 2.5. Yeah, Salim is playing safe, yeah? Neither this side nor that side. Ahmad Jalil 3. Muhammad Ajmi 3. Sayyid Abbas 3. Wow, wow. As you can see, yeah, most of you have given 3. And I would also give a 3. Thank you. Why? Now let's analyze. Does it start with the transition signal? Yes, all in all. Does it does it does it follow a comma? Yes. See, all in all is the transition signal followed by comma. And it talks about 4 stages. So he clearly talks about 4 stages, which he has talked about it in body paragraphs. He has already produced well developed, well organized body paragraphs. And this is what he says here, 4 stages. Now, there are two ways to summarize it. Yeah, you can just use keywords, or you can just write uh, one sentence for each paragraph. So in both ways, it's okay. And then, yeah, so I would say he summarizes it effectively. Yeah, as you can see, I may be wrong, but here you see most of the teachers have given a 3. Why? Because he has uh, almost everything that a concluding paragraph should have. So as you can see here, if we follow a rating scale and we keep rubrics in our mind, most of us will end up giving almost the same score. But sometimes we are tired, we don't remember, and we bank on our memory and we give a score which is sometimes not as good as it should have been, if we uh, paid attention to the rating scale or rubric. So we just need to be careful. It's a human error. Sometimes I do as well. Yeah. But we need to refresh our memory before grading papers. Like we need to look at the rubric. We need to look at the rating scale. We need to have it in front of us. So it helps us uh, in many ways, and it saves our time and energy. Otherwise we need to indulge in some kind of defense with the students. But if you have a rubric, you have graded against the rubric, yeah, you can just pull out your rubric and see this is what the rubric says. You already know, you're familiar with the rubric, right? And then it will help you silence your student. I mean, your students won't be left dissatisfied once you show the performance statement in the rating scale as compared to performance of a particular student. Uh, well, it depends, uh, in terms of context and logistics, Brother Abdulaziz. Like when we first taught our ELIH students, they were really smart cookies. They were very good. I mean, they were intelligent and their linguistic abilities were really, really good. But uh, this time, of course, they are good, but they are not as good as we had our students of ELIH previously. So things change. I mean, he has important elements of a concluding paragraph, and I think he has done it well. Now, let's have a look at another essay here. Look at the introduction. I hope you can see it clearly. Please take a picture and zoom in, and you can read. And so, what score would you give for the introduction? Please go through uh, the introductory paragraph and let me know uh, which score you would give to this particular essay. Wow, great. Uh, I'll be attending this workshop on IELTS preparation task 2. Thank you, Rabia. Thank you, Kamal. Thank you, Muhammad Ajmi. Thank you, Abdulaziz. Yeah, can you let me know the score which you would give? Of course, it's not the same as we just had a look at the previous essay. What score would you give? 1.5. Hmm. May I know the response? May I know why you want to give 1.5, uh, Mr. Ajmi? Any reason? Does it have funnel background? Okay, but you can mark him down for mechanics, under different category. Now, I think when we are looking at the introductory paragraph, we basically need to think in terms of whether or not it has funnel background, whether or not it's well developed, and does it have a thesis statement. So these are three important requirements for producing well organized and effective introductory paragraph. Yeah, I agree with you. He has these problems, but we are basically looking at introductory paragraph from the point of views of funnel background, uh, thesis statement, and whether uh, ideas are expressed clearly or not. Yeah. So, okay, only one person has given allocated a score. Can you write your score, please? Yeah. Thank you, Ahmed Basan. Yes, I agree with you. It's not well developed. True. Yeah. Incomprehensible. True. You have to rack your brains to read what he is actually trying to talk about. Not able to read clearly. Yeah. Yeah. So I would also give maybe no, uh, 1.5 or 2. Actually, he deserves 1, I guess, because he doesn't have a funnel background. Even, no thesis statement. I can't see it. And then, it doesn't make sense. Right. So 1 is better. Yes. Yes, Ahmed Basan, I'm also with you. Yeah. Right, Dr. Mumtaz. Right. So, so the key features are missing. He doesn't give any funnel background. He doesn't end with a thesis statement. Ideas are not well expressed. So yes. Yeah. 1 would suffice, right? Now, if you compare this particular introductory paragraph with what we have done, before this, deserves really three, because that essay had everything according to the requirement of the introductory paragraph. Look at his body paragraph. Let's have a look at one body paragraph. We can't have a look at all of them. Yeah, yeah. Have a look at one body paragraph, the first one. How much marks would you give? And then we'll move straight away to the conclusion. If you look at, stage one means the cancer. He's not able to write the word cancer. Look, and he's writing on this topic. And the word cancer is given in the, rubric, in the question paper, in the question booklet. So this shows how careless this student is. He doesn't even bother to look at the rubric, at the bullet points, at the topic. So he said the first stage one means the cancer is small and also the cancer not spread outside the lung. And you can break down the stage one to two stages. Yeah. And the cancer size 3 centimeter. What score would you give here? Uh, let's go to the body paragraphs quickly so that we exactly know. Yeah. So we have to give it out of 5, right? Yeah. What score would you give? Incoherent paragraph. Well done. Yes, Rabia Khan. He just seems he seems to have just written, keywords like 3 centimeter, and is attempting to write sentences, but he's not able to produce, correct sentences. True. Yeah. True. And remember, he even he has to produce about 7 sentences. It's not even 7. So there are many problems here. It's not well developed, well organized. There is a massive syntax problem, although they will be looked at under different categories, but it hampers, it impedes communication. It prevents, uh, expressing your ideas. Yeah, see, mashallah, most of you are uh, so experienced. Yeah, yeah. Most of you have given 2. Yeah, even my score would be 2. So, mashallah, we are all on the same page. Why? Because we are all on the same page because of the rating scale. We look at the rating scale and then we give a particular score. Okay, okay. Is it better? Okay. It's incomprehensible. He just seems to have written, key ideas here and there. Okay. Now, let's, yeah, this is the concluding paragraph. What score would you give? I hope it's clear. You can read. I mean, you can see it clearly, but I don't know whether you'll be able to read it clearly or not, because he seems to have some orthographic issues as well. I mean, problem of font and this problem of writing, I guess. Okay, what score would you give to this concluding paragraph? Remember, we give a score from 0, 1 to 3. Yeah, from 0 to 3. 2, 2. Hmm. Well done. Yes. Uh, Riyadh is a bit strict. Yeah, but look at this. He says 4 stages. So that's a keyword here because he's trying to give the keywords of number of stages that he has talked about, and also he says dangerous disease. Uh, Although he's supposed to rephrase the thesis statement, and then he talks about I think different stages. Yeah, he talks about he actually summarizes each stage here briefly, quite briefly. Yeah. So yes, I think 2 is okay. Yeah, we'll we'll persuade Riyadh to give it 2. Yeah. Yeah, but okay. Now, what do you think major problems with this essay? So this particular essay, yeah, this particular script is riddled with some major mistakes. What are they? If you have to point out a few, what would you actually point out? And please don't say everything. Of course, yeah. Capitalization, yeah. Mechanics, very good, Dr. Mumtaz. Yeah, spelling. You see, this particular script is riddled with spelling mistakes. It's fraught with, you know, grammatical problems. Yeah. So grammar, mechanics, guys. Also, ideas are not coherent, which I think Rabia has talked about before. Very incoherent ideas. Yeah. A massive problem of syntax. Even, you know, a variety of sentences are missing. So if a student has a major problem in one area that prevents a student to get a particular score, to get a higher score. So if they make few mistakes, that's fine. But if suppose if students have written beautiful words, wonderful collocation, lovely idiomatic expressions, but he has a problem in grammar, then his he will be marked down. Yeah, so we need to identify both positive features of a particular script as well as negative features. Positive features help a student get a higher score, and negative features result in losing marks. If you have any questions, go ahead. I'm not an expert, but yes, I can share my experiences with you. Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Mumtaz.
Okay,
If you have
brothers
any
and
questions, go
sisters.
ahead, please. Maybe you can ask your questions in the chat box, or maybe you can uh, ask any queries using your mic.
As
Sorry,
usual,
yeah,
go ahead, Dr. Ansar, if you want to continue.
someone was saying something. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I was about to repeat what you have already said. If you have any questions, dear ladies and gentlemen, you can write them in the chat box or use your microphones. Okay, I'm sharing three forms with you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. A workshop evaluation form, which is a must for the certificate, the online appointments, and the
Thank you,
AWS
everyone, for your participation
channel.
and swift responses while asking questions.
Actually, thank you, Dr. Ansari, for this excellent and exceptional, useful, interesting workshop. And thank you all participants for your interaction, your engagement, your enrichment of the presentation, which is already wonderful. The next workshop, as I mentioned in the chat box, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be about IELTS preparation module or task 2 next Wednesday on the 17th of May. The task 1 was presented last week. For those who missed it, you can reach it on the YouTube channel. Please, when you fill in the evaluation form, make sure that your name that you are willing to see on your certificate is spelled correctly. Thank you, everybody. Wonderful, useful, beneficial presentation, mashallah.
Thank you for your beautiful words. That encouraged me to deliver the next one.
Sure, inshallah. We'll be waiting for that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. By the way, inshallah, next year, the presentations will be open for everybody, not only the Academic Writing Center's members. Inshallah, and we'll consider everybody willing to present about academic writing. Inshallah, the topics will be open for everybody. Thank you, Brother Muhammad.